Yes, Canute Exploration, your topic in a podcast. I am Dr. Canute White. I know you know that face because if you subscribe to my channel, yeah, you'd have seen this gentleman in an episode talking about art and creativity and all of that. But he's on a different side now. He's going to be talking to you about a challenge that many persons around the world may have been living with, and it's a thing called dyslexia. And my guest told you before that he was dyslexic, and definitely you're going to be hearing more about dyslexia, and trust me, it's going to be interesting because this man has experienced dyslexia. Hey, Michael, dyslexia.
Hi, Canute. It's good.
Yeah.
It's good to see you again.
Yeah, nice to see you again too. But dyslexia, what is that?
What is it? What is it?
Yeah. What is it?
Dyslexia is 43 years ago when I was in school, they said, oh, you're dyslexic, but you still have to go to school, you have to still pass the test, and you have to do the same thing. It's like almost saying, oh, sorry, your arm is cut off, but you still have to do sports. Yeah. It's like literally that hard, because dyslexic is a brain, a wiring issue. Mm-hmm. And it's not that for example, I'm looking at a word, I look at a number, 13. Yeah. I'm saying 13, but I see it at 31. Or I look at 13, say it's 31, but I mean it's 13. You see, it can come in every variation. So it's not like, oh, Michael, you a bad boy, you're just trying to, to play with us, or you're lazy. I see it, I speak it, or I see it and speak it differently. It comes in all variation. No dyslexia is the same.
Right.
But you switch, you say, it is, and you read TI, it, instead of you read TI. So it is very hard to, for dyslexic people, especially because they try to hold on, to being a part of the whole, like we are DNA driven to be a part of the whole, to concentrate and regurgitate stuff. So I understand what you're telling me, but if you say, Michael, now say this, number one, number two, this, number three, I forgot it. I can't,
Yeah. So sequence. You will not understand how to do sequencing.
Yeah. I cannot sequence, or I can repeat. So if I would have prepared for this talk, this talk would be horrible.
Yeah.
I can only talk. I have to read you, and you read me, and then we use our six senses, to talk to each other like we're supposed to, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's the natural thing. We are part of nature. We should.
Right.
We are equipped to interact with each other, but technology has separated us, and systems have separated us. In story, history, race, gender. We're all humans, but and we need all of them. We need all the genders, all the races, anybody, all dyslexic either. Right. Dyslexics have a certain part in society where they see context where nobody else sees context yet, and then once they see it, you know that from our first thing, I tell you what I see, and you get, oh, I relate to this. You use your 7 sentence to relate to this.
Yeah.
It's not Michael tells you, all the sky is green. No, it's not green. So it's not resonating with you. But, or the guy's of whatever color, purple. It is not purple, so it doesn't resonate with you. So I can only be on a human level. That's where they're very good. On a human level, dyslexics are very good.
Right. Okay. That's interesting. But your childhood, we go back there because we want to know your childhood experience. Yeah.
Okay.
As a dyslexic.
Okay. Child. So I was first of all, I was sick as asthma and allergies and eczema and everything. And then I went to school, and then I found, oh my God. And that time, nobody talked about it. Yeah. They just about knew about, 40, 50 years ago, they knew
Yeah.
There is such a condition called dyslexia.
Mm-hmm.
And so the only you didn't go to a doctor.
Okay.
The schools were informed that when the kid does this, we're seeing this over and over and over, tell him he has dyslexia. But as I said, nothing else. They didn't say, okay, we give you different kind of tests.
Mm-hmm.
We judge you differently. We give you different books or something, or you listen to audiobooks, which at that time they didn't have it, because audiobooks dyslexic can comprehend.
Right.
And obviously needs to also be the testing, because dyslexic, you can ask for, okay, was this 1643 or 1675? You cannot. That is absolutely a wall for dyslexics. I know that there is dyslexics that are very good in numbers, but they have other issues,
So there weren't any accommodation. I heard you say that the teachers would say, okay, there's a challenge. I'm seeing a challenge in this child or these children. In our profession, we call it initial assessment in the classroom.
Exactly.
Right?
Yes.
And but there wasn't any accommodation. There wasn't any. Why is that so? What sort of experience did you have in regards to not having accommodation to do your test, etc.?
Because it was like this. I had to repeat 3 classes, and then I said, I can't do this anymore. I can humanly not do it, because there's so much shame, especially in a time where you try to connect with others. Right. When you're an adolescent, you want to be the same, you want to belong to a group, you want to be, and you can't. And when you made friends a year, then they say at the end of year, sorry, you have to repeat the class. You're not having the grades are not correct. Mm-hmm. And this was very barbaric.
Mm-hmm. Your description of it has been barbaric. Why is that so? That is a strong word to use, Michael, to describe this thing.
Because I was totally left by myself.
Yeah.
I said, it's like, there's something wrong with you. If I would say to you, there's something wrong with you, you're black, you're not white, deal with it. So how you can relate to this? This is the same thing. It's the same thing where a system says, you look different, you're different. You are different, you're different. Right. But the system doesn't define what is normal. And it can't, because we are 8 billion people with different fingerprints and different DNA. Yeah. So there is no normal. Everybody's abnormal, because otherwise system would say, if you want to be normal, you need to have 10 things the same. Right. And nobody has those 10 things the same. So we're living a lie. This is what my work is now, to say, if we want to get our human potential up, right, and we want to really express as a human, limitless human beings, we need to work together as humans, not systems. Systems are good. You need the system for electricity and whatever, but not that we lose our connection to where we are initially from, because there's nature for humans. There's nature, and there is systems. You're born in a hospital system. You get baptized a system. You get in the school system. You get a job system. You marry a system. So everything is a system. Yeah. So we have lost. I think this is for behavioral science very important. Right. We have lost where we belong. So we have no guideline. So even if I'm, let's say, function in a system, I work in this company, I need to be aware that I'm part of nature, that I'm a species of nature that works in a system that we created, like the monopoly system. We created a game that's called company, that's called politics, that's called religion, and we play in that, right? Like we all agree, all humans agree, we play in that. And when you can compartmentalize that, then you don't take the job so serious. Because what happens, what my saddest thing is, when a father or mother has a sick child, they want to take care of the child because that's the human nature, the benevolency, but they feel guilty because they're not in the work. They're not in work.
Yeah.
Guilty of not being in the system. In nature, that is not a question. You take care of the young. You take care of yourself.
Right.
You know, and this is where we don't know. When have you last heard, except for me, that we as species, like an elephant, an eagle, or whatever, of nature, and we have not created ourselves, and we are part of nature. And nature keeps going on. If we kill ourselves, we know we have done that in civilizations over civilization, have killed ourselves, and nature went on. So we are so distorted, right? We think we have to save nature. We don't have to save nature. Nature takes care of itself, but we have to protect nature in the context of our survival. So if we take something from nature that humans never will use, that's another story. But we cannot take from nature what we need for our survival and our generations of survival.
Right. So dyslexia, it was barbaric in that instance. But it is said that in literature that it can be, genetic, developmental.
It is
genetic. Can be acquired, brain injury. So how did your dyslexia come about? Is it an innate thing? What happened? When was it realized?
I think it's genetic. I think my mom was dyslexic, or my dad, or there might be both. And sometimes, the DNA, it jumps a generation. But but they found, I don't know if that's true, but they found out, dyslexic science found out that it is actually inherited. It's inherited from your parents, because a lot of parents have two dyslexic children.
Okay. Okay. Right.
But it's about awareness. I mean, it's a awareness. It's like in my time, 50 years ago, people say, okay, you're dyslexic. But now they know we got to do something about it, adapt, to the human, because,
Definitely. Your adult life, though, Michael, I know you work, you play, you have relationship, etc.
Yeah.
How does dyslexia affect your adult life, your adulthood?
It affects me all the time. The thing is, I'm not adapted. Where until 50 years old, I wasn't adapted to the fact that I was dyslexic. I knew I was dyslexic, but I thought it was my fault. See, this is the problem when you don't, it's almost saying it's your fault. You're a different color than me.
Right.
It's not your fault. It's just, and how much shame do any people, like other genders, other races, other sexuality have, because they are not, quote unquote, normal. And the shaming, the self-shaming, I'm not good enough. Look at me. I can't even fill out a mathematical formula. I cannot read. I'm stuttering around. And that's why it took me 50 years. That's why I'm an advocate for dyslexia.
Oh, yeah, cool.
Because it took me 50 years. I don't want kids to go 50 years through horror, and thinking they're always not good enough, they can't do it. And we know from all our people, we can do everything. Every woman, every race, every sexuality can be successful in the game of Monopoly, but it still affects your life too. Because still there's people that look at you because they got conditioned. It's not their fault. They got conditioned, why do they do that? Why? But they do it because they got conditioned,
Yeah, interesting. ADHD, attention deficit hyperactive disorder. It is said, by reputable research, reputable source, that you're more 6 times likely if you have ADHD to be dyslexic, and in fact, a lot of times ADHD and dyslexia works together, comorbid sort of disorder. Yeah. Talk to me.
And dysgraphia. Dysgraphia. So for me, dysgraphia is I cannot read my handwriting. So if you write something legible, obviously, 5 years ago, I can decipher context and the words.
Yeah.
When I write down and I look at that, my brain cannot decipher the context of what I have written.
Mm-hmm.
So even if I write, I have to really write thing and then decipher the context, because I think the ADHD is a symptom of not being in time space right now, because you're always distracted, right? You're always distracted. That's why more and more people have ADHD.
Yeah.
And then the next higher level of ADHD is dyslexia. And then autism is the next one. So I'm in the middle of both. I'm very good with autistic children or autistic people, and I'm also good with ADHD people. Because I'm not as hard. The difference is not as hard.
Yeah. So the disparity is not too far, and it's interesting. You're listening to Canute Exploration, your topic in a podcast. I have had Michael before talking about creativity and art and so on, and he's back with me to talk about dyslexia because he is a dyslexic adult, and it's interesting the things that he has been said. Michael, I want to find out if dyslexia is different in different parts of the world. Does it look different in the United States than Canada than in the Caribbean?
No, but you know what I think? I think it's wherever you are more human. Let's say in the Caribbean, you're more connected with nature.
Yeah,
and it's not as West. But Caribbean is now also Western world. But if it was more like in Africa or in wherever we are more, in Iceland or something, where you're more disconnected from the system world, where you have to rely on human kindness, on connection, on communicating. I think that's where dyslexia doesn't even show up. I think the ADHD doesn't even show up. I think it shows up in a moment. It's so important to concentrate. Be serious, never fun. And animals always play around, and humans play around. When guys meet, what is the first thing? They're making stupid jokes. And women do the same thing. So it is in nature of humanity or animal or species of this planet to play around. And if you take that away, it's too much concentration. Always be in your head, not in your body. You're always in your head. When you don't use your six senses, your body consciousness, that's why people get fat. That's why people get sick, because they're not in their body. They're always in their mind and try to compensate everything from the mind, because that fits the best our system conditioning, So system goes on knowledge, and we learn all the knowledge. But let's say you and I read all the books about love,
right?
And we have never felt love. It's a waste of time. And not everything. It's wisdom and awareness is about experiential thing. And how often do you tell a child, don't touch the stove? The stove is hot, but it has to burn themselves one time, not the hand off or whatever. To get the awareness for the rest of her life, you don't touch hot things. See, we have all the wisdom. Humans have all the wisdom. I have zero education because I couldn't understand it. I couldn't fit in. I couldn't comprehend it. And I'm talking to professors, to doctors, to everybody, because it's so interesting, because my view is completely different than anybody else has.
And I must tell you, you have been doing well. This is the second time talking to you, Michael. And trust me, if you are saying that to me now, you have zero education. I understand what you're saying, but I would never know that.
Yeah, you would never know that, because they all ask me, where did you study? Where did you go to university? I said, I didn't, because I couldn't. I couldn't go in.
I understand.
So what I'm saying to your listeners, this is very important. Listen to me. Look at this. I have no education. Look at the first interview episode, and then see if you can see that, because nobody can see it, because we are connecting, interacting on the human level, and you see that it is important that dyslexic people have something to contribute. So it's not just, oh my God, he's dyslexic. Oh, he's a different sexuality. He's a different race. He has nothing to contribute. We all have stuff to contribute. And the more we contribute from different lives, different race, different sexuality, the more knowledge we see how much we are the same.
Yeah.
We are complete, and okay, if let's say this is a good example. If you and I were what system says, you're a different person, you're a different color.
Yeah.
Then Canute and I couldn't even talk to each other.
Yeah.
We could not. We have a total normal, not racist or anything conversation.
Right. Yeah.
We just talking to each other, human to human. Found through the dyslexia, it's not about anything that is categorized. Oh, you're a doctor. Oh, you're this. Oh, you're that. Oh, you're this. It's all about humans. And if we don't make humanity number one, we will repeat system stuff. It's so limited. It always repeats itself. And just give you an example. Science has not figured out how, I mean, we understand it from a human perspective. How a tree gets the water 100 feet up, or 200 feet up into the leaves against gravity. We cannot replicate a tree, and we can really explain it so that everybody can. We know it on an awareness level. Okay, he's like an animal. He sucks up the thing and he pushes it up into trees. But science has not deciphered that. And now you think that science can say, oh, I can just change around DNA. They should never touch nature. I mean, if there's DNA that's simple to do, but changing a DNA is when we cannot figure out a tree how it gets the water up into the leaves against gravity. I would very hesitate that DNA work is a good thing. It's good to recognize and say, Canute, you have a thing of their predisposition of this, but I don't think to alter it. You don't alter nature. You don't alter. You see what happens when you alter nature. You see when you get palm trees in the rainforest. When you it only destroys our habitat. Nature will just adapt.
You're right. I mean, that's so interesting because that's what we're doing. Someone listened to the other episode that you had earlier about creativity and the system, diverting from the dyslexia. And they asked me the question, so Doc, tell me, I agree with your guest, but tell me, why can't we change system if there's a challenge with the system? I said to him that, hey, they are protectors of the system. There are some persons who are protecting the systems, and those persons are in the upper echelon. Those persons are powerful, so it will be difficult to change the system. Talk to me.
Very simple. You absolutely 100% right what you said to this person, but we are not the gods we are not the creators of humans. We are not the creators of nature. But what did we create? Systems, right? So we actually are in a God position to change systems around. Only there's what you said. There is this system disturbed humans that are sitting on top of those systems, and they take an advantage because the people are conditioned over generations too. That system, they don't know where they belong, and they need to say, we belong to nature. We are part of nature. We are not a part in the middle between systems and nature. We are not in the system either. We are a part of nature. And when you have that and says we are the gods, only one God we are. We are the gods of all the systems. Every system we created, religion, everything, politics, all these, every business, every major company, every country, we are the gods of that. So if we would feel for humanity and for nature, we will say, since we are the gods, we can change the systems to make them human relevant, not humans with the adaptability to be system relevant.
Right.
We need to change systems where we actually can do something.
Okay.
Changing them around and make them say, okay, It's all about humans first, not systems, not McDonald's or anybody. It's about humans first. So let's see what we can change in system to help 8 billion people on this planet to help them out, like to help me, like StreamYard helps you and I out. That you and I, now that's a perfect system. Because it helps us. You on the other side of the United States, I'm on California side, and we can communicate. So it helps raising the human potential because you and I can actually talk over the screen.
Interesting. Yeah. And listen to Canute Exploration, your topic in the podcast. I'm talking to Michael. I'm Dr. Canute White. You said something about system. And indeed, back in your childhood, the education system had not established this accommodation so that you can be better served. And that was a challenge. So you see your system ties into the whole dyslexia thing. And I read that there are a number of characteristics of the dyslexia, and the pronunciation problem, slow vocabulary growth, often unable to find the right words, and difficulty to rhyme in words, and learning numbers. You talk about the number thing just now, but as I said this, I'd like to find out from you, along with those challenges, right? Characteristics / challenges. What are some of the other general challenges? Maybe you'd like to repeat some of those and explain that dyslexia.
The challenge is to seeing, to be aware. It's like you burn yourself to see. That's the only challenge, that we are not aware. There's no steps in awareness. There's no steps. Once you burn yourself on the stove, for the rest of your life. You don't need to learn anything. It's about the awareness, and the awareness is okay. There is systems. There is humans that are part of nature. That is important. And what you said is using the right vocabulary. Don't forget, language is a system in itself. So when you're navigating Monopoly that we created, that we all agreed on, we're part of it. When you did that, and the system makes new words, right?
Okay.
So before you were a black person, a Negro or whatever, and now you are an African American, even though you have never been in Africa. You know what I mean? So it makes new words, and this is such a great thing. I'm so glad I have you on this, because it gives you a new word, and then it punishes you, the system, if you don't think. I don't see you. I see you as Canute, not as black guy, not as Negro. I see you as Canute, my buddy Canute, right? I don't see you as that. So and the conditioning, obviously I see you a different color, like you see I'm a different color too.
Right. Yeah.
But that is, a zebra sees, oh hey, that's a giraffe and that's a zebra. They see the difference.
But there's
but systemic.
Yeah.
It has a different name. So in the world of nature, you and I are humans. In the world of systems, this is a good example. Thanks for the question. In the world of system, you are black, I'm white. I'm European, you are African American. All this stuff, and you are not even that. Even if you never were in Africa, black people are not just in Africa. It's just bullshit. It's just total bullshit.
System.
And it's categorizing, and then it becomes a stereotype. And then we judge him. He's rich, he's poor. Who cares? He's a human.
Yeah, I like that. I like you said that, especially about being African American. I've never gone to Africa, but the system said you're African American.
It pushes you into that, and you have no. It's like,
I like that. Yeah, and we talk about the challenges that you have, and the general challenges of people who have dyslexia, and this thing about numbering, words, but in effect there's a communication challenge. You're communicating well with me. I mean, you're excellent.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure if there are others who have real communication problem. And the question is, what makes you, Michael?
Creating art.
Okay.
Because art is our language. You know that, right? If I draw something, you don't need to speak my language. You don't need to be from close to me. I show you this. If I paint something, Iceland or Alaska or anywhere in the world will understand what I painted with emotion, with like all the senses. It will. When you hear music, you don't have to speak Japanese to listen to a Japanese musician. Yeah. But you understand it. You feel the feelings that he put into the music. That's why art creation, that's why I'm so promoting art creation. Yeah. Because it's the language, is the universal language. And it's not like a system that is very limited. No, it's unlimited. Art creation is unlimited. It's just, you know, when you paint with your fingers, you understand that everywhere in the world.
You know, society. There are a number of mental health challenges. I'm in psychology as well, and there's the stigma, be it individual stigma or familial stigma. Because if an individual has a mental health challenge, many times the family will be stigmatized. Oh, your son is mentally challenged, so everybody in that family is challenged. We have a problem with all of you, right? How can societal response to situation like dyslexia be changed? What's going on there?
To see through me that I'm valuable, I have worth. See, in nature, and you just be aware of that. In nature, the elephant and the ant are valuable. They have different functions. They're not like the ant says, "Oh, I wish I was the elephant," or the elephant says, "I wish I was the ant." Right. That doesn't exist. Everybody has is the fact that you exist is your proof that you're valuable. And since we are a part of nature, and nature doesn't make mistakes, right? Every human living being on this planet has value because it exists, not because it has school, has education, has anything else. Every single living being on this planet is valuable because it exists, and we know that nature doesn't make mistakes. It is for millions of years. It is adapting, constantly adapting, and it's growing, and it's beautiful. You know, nature. It's the most and you feel. And why is it good? Because you feel home there. When you look at a tree, you feel home. What do people that are system pushed and they're answering customer call, right? And then they need to see. I need to 15 minutes just look outside the window. There's a tree, and they'll look at that.
Oh yeah.
But what AI does now, AI sees that and says she doesn't do a job. She needs to just digest what she did, all the the customer service stuff she did, and she needs to rest because a human cannot work 24/7. Yeah, it needs to rest to digest what it experienced.
You're an art, and you know you're dyslexic, but my thing about it is that nature is therapeutic. You know that. You have been saying that to me.
I wrote this thing, and we can include in this episode my dyslexia. I did 2 papers on this dyslexia.
Oh, okay, fine. Yeah. So we can have that in the description. But why is it that we know we're in the United States? There are some parts of the United States that are not necessarily natured. Yeah. Right. Why is it that there's not a flip, so to speak, an imbalance? People are trying to seek nature, so they will end up in Florida, some parts of California as well, and so on. We feel comfortable in. Do we feel comfortable not being in nature, or is it that people are running to the countryside, Georgia as well? Yeah. Right, in order to be natured.
Yeah. The people are driven to nature. Yeah. When they, what it is, it's all system conditioned. So what do? You get to school, you get a degree. All the system, it's not what you want to do is not the question. Right. This is, okay, I'm going to go to school. I'm going to go to think I'm going to learn this. And then I'm going to accompany a system, a big company, hospital or whatever, and then I make a lot of money, and then I at the end I'm gonna retire and then enjoy life, and then I go to the countryside.
Right.
But the problem is that's a lie. You know that, because after 2 years, when the average year is 2 years after you retire.
Oh yeah. Okay.
And so people, it's always a thing. It's like, when you live according to a lie, when you react to a lie, for example, systems say in order to sell, systems say, hey, Canute and Michael, you guys, it should be sunny every day. And if it's not, we sell you a Ferrari, a pill, or a face job. Get a new face. It's beautiful, And let's say we say, okay, we're doing this. And then say, it's still not sunny every day. It's not, you feel feelings, you feel down and whatever. Then say, oh, get another Ferrari, get a Lamborghini and get another pill and we sell you that. And a lot of people just do that, and they buy more and more and more and more. And not that they buy it, let's say they have enough money.
Yeah.
It is a promise that cannot be kept. It's not outside. Every living being in nature, and that's why I show you how powerful it is when you're thinking in nature.
Right.
Every living being in nature, a bacteria, a virus, wants to grow. And in that wants to grow he's challenged.
Yeah.
And we are always challenged. So it's never a thing. It should be easy. You shouldn't have pain. Pain is a part of non-pain, The feeling good is a part of not feeling good. Everything has a duality, because if it was pretty every day, you would never say, oh, it's an ugly day. You gotta have the balance, to see and to feel, and the conditions. It all comes back to always see the conditioning that has done on you and generations before you, and lean back to humanity, because it will give you the answer. It like I say to business people, very interesting. I say, when you think you need a business AI or whatever, you need to solve your money flow, systemically. Always you go further away from humans. So if I was a service industry where you go and get your car serviced or whatever.
Right. Yeah.
I have now automatic. You don't talk to a person. You just tell them what on AI what's wrong. You go away from the system. The system goes away. It always drives away. So you go get computer and all this stuff. I'm not against it. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I know.
You have to balance where. So when AI now talks to you, sooner or later, and it pretends. See, if AI say this is AI, please go through this thing, and we can solve your problem. Mm-hmm. But if you don't, you believe it's a person. Somebody writes you a note, and you have it written by AI.
Yeah.
You actually communicated with the AI, not with another person. Mm. And that defeats the purpose of being human.
Yeah, and that's like artificial.
Everybody talks to AI, and you lose yourself.
Right, yeah? Artificial intelligence there. But interesting dichotomy that you had described in terms of pain being a part of unpain, and so. I mean, it's understandable and very interesting. But my thing though is that we had said before, you have your relationships, right, and so on. But let's go general now in terms of persons with dyslexia.
Yeah.
In regards to the platonic and sexual relationships.
Yeah.
Are they affected? Or does the dyslexic situation affect the friendship and sexual relationship?
I didn't see it, but I can see how it could, because if your partner is a very systemic person that fits just right in, has no problems with not reading or whatever, is perfect, is perfect for systems, mm-hmm. then he will ask you to do things like, why don't you get a job? This happened to me. an 8-to-5 job, you know. Now it's very hard for us to do an 8-to-5 job. I mean, that doesn't mean that we don't work. I had my job was from 2 to 10 at night, but that was better for me than 8-to-5, you know.
Okay.
So and I didn't do a normal accountant job. I did, you know, a host of a restaurant or being with other people and stuff.
Yeah.
So it affects the relationship because the conditioned other part of that relationship has expectations. This is how a relationship should form.
Yeah.
We have, don't forget, we have in the last 10 years, it is a $2 billion business dating. $2 billion, right?
Yeah.
And when the people, and now the systems are so exhausted to make a couple of bucks, you know?
Yeah.
And the people get smart to it. They say, this doesn't work anymore. This doesn't, I'm dating and find people and some find love or not, but it's basically, it's not working anymore. And what they say, but this is all, if it works or not, it's irrelevant. What happens is through this conditioning, through dating apps, people are now not able to connect on a human level with another human. And that's it. It's not that it's bad or good, because then systems will say, oh, look, we have so many married people. It's not about that. It is about, can human, through the conditioning, through systems, human are incapable to use their senses, to trust you. You know, I mean, you and I, we are good in feelings. We know how to dance the dance.
Yeah.
But there's so many, and also we are professionals, and we do this a long time. We are not here on the planet for 20 years, you know?
Yeah.
So that's why we can. But most people have lost that.
You know, you said something in the previous episode that I had with you, the creativity and all, that you cannot text. You have a challenge texting.
Yeah.
And it's not about you. It's about dyslexic people, right? Most. My thing, in today's world, lovers text. Relationship, you text your girlfriend or wife, and we love to communicate that way in relationship.
Of course, yeah.
Is that a challenge, a serious challenge that can break down the relationship because you're not able to communicate?
I can speak it in the iPhone. I can speak it, right? I can speak the text in. So that helps.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. And also, I don't go a long explanation. I just say thank you. Oh, that was lovely. I love you. You know, that is wonderful. I was just thinking about you. I would text that, you know.
Okay.
Usually I'm reacting to something. I'm not the guy that goes out and texts.
Yeah.
I'm the guy that calls.
Okay.
I'm more out because that's easier. That's more human.
Yeah. Yeah. I know what you said, you can speak into it. And I was looking at that. I just remember that you can speak into it. But I would just shift it to persons who at work and cannot speak and have to have that routine. But that's okay. Look, we talk about what you see as a dyslexic person already, right? We won't go into that. But your involvement with the dyslexic community, what is your involvement? Or are you?
My involvement is my own stuff, because I know I'm kind of weary and I don't fit into systems. And the dyslexic is a system. The dyslexia, Branson, and they are system navigators. I am just doing my part of it. I'm not. I'm just giving a lot of interviews about it.
Yeah.
And I am the example of my own, of what I'm talking about, you know. So I would not be able to do anything, would lay in a corner somewhere. I wouldn't be a good, but I have pushed through I expanded the human potential, and through my own awareness, I want to share that, because sharing is one. That's why podcasts are so important. People hear that and say, "Oh my God, Canute and Michaell, they talk that made me okay. I'm okay." Because it's all about being okay. It's not about. I say, we chasing the feeling. All humans chase the feeling of fulfillment, which is the feeling that you have right after an orgasm, right after.
Yeah.
It's the fulfillment. Everything is okay. I'm okay. The world is okay. I'm loved. Everything is okay. And that's what we're chasing. We all chase that. That's the success in the human life. In the system, its success is you got to hit the goal. You got to reach the first quarter, financial quarter. You surpass the first. It's always, and it starts right away after. So you hit the first quarter, you hit your goal, and it's a short thing of fulfillment, very short. And then it says, okay, now the second quarter, now the third quarter, and it's the hamster wheel. It's the hamster wheel that we didn't do this consciously. There's no bad, evil people that created the system. We did it because we got conditioned to it. And in the old days, we lived, we worked to live. And probably our ancestors worked harder than we do, but they lived. We now work to survive. And that's a big difference.
Yeah.
That is a huge difference because humans should not work to survive. Humans should work to live, not to survive.
Yeah. Interesting that you said that, though, because I was engaged in a discussion as it relates to work and work as the exertion of energy, and that most people rather to not exert that energy unless they are getting something from it. That is why they want sufficient pay for their labor. And we also talk about you telling your child to wash the dishes. That for your child is exerting energy. And mommy, daddy, what am I getting when I wash the dishes? I'm not getting anything. So you have to tie.
You get a lot. You got a lot. You get a lot. I mean, I was picking up sticks today and stuff. My friend cut off and said, "Hey, Michael, can you help me?" And I said, "Absolutely." You get friendship when you do work together. You get the human. It's all about the human thing. It's very healthy to do physical work, picking up stuff. Even it was very simple. Yeah. But it's picking up stuff. You connect. You work together. Hey, we could do it this way. You get a lot. The money is the symptom. Yeah. You got to look, but you don't look. See, we have forgotten to look at the human reward of being together. I'm not getting paid. You're not getting paid for this podcast.
No, but it's therapeutic as well.
But we do it because we want to expand. Right. We want to get smarter. We want to get also. The more we know, the better we feel. I mean, the more aware we are, the more knowing you can know everything, but you forget it. Yeah. But the more awareness, the human experiential learning, what we're doing right now, the better we feel. And everybody who listens to this podcast feels like that.
Yeah. Michael, I have done nearly almost 200, I guess, episodes over the past 2 years. And, I continue because I am fulfilled by empowering others, teaching others. So yes, you're right about that, Michael. Yeah. I want you to talk to 3 categories of people before we end this episode. And the first category is the parents, or the parents with dyslexic children. Talk to them.
I would say they need to know, the parents that they have dyslexic children, that there is nothing wrong. Also, I would tell dyslexic children till I think 24 years old or 27, your brain is developing. When a kid wants to sleep, it is important to sleep. That all the wiring goes on. And I could never sleep. I had a hard time sleeping, and my parents were loud and whatever. So sleep is the most important for anybody with ADHD. See, now my dyslexia, ADHD, and dyslexia. The sleep to allow the brain to develop. I think that's probably the only thing that you can do as a parent to minimize the problem, and then don't send them into systems. Don't, have them in the systems, but look the schools, Waldorf schools, Montessori schools, get him into a school that works with dyslexic ADHD, with abnormal, quote unquote, which doesn't exist. We are all abnormal. 8 billion people have different DNA and fingerprints. So, give him, look for the schooling, for the kindergarten and keep telling the child that it is valuable because it exists. It's not what it is in that sports team or what it is in that Monopoly game or what it is in that university. There's a reason why you exist, so figure it out. That's your life. Figure it out. What is your reason? And we will help you do things. But if you tell a child it's not okay, it's never going to figure it out. You know that. This is a good thing. 97% or 98% of children that come to school have one trait that is better than anybody on the world, one ability or trait or skill that is better than anybody on this earth, which comes together with that's why we are 8 billion people that are all different. So when they go through school, through a system, they get so fast conditioned that only 3% are gifted after they come out. Only 3% are gifted children, where 98 or something were gifted before they went to school. Now 3% are gifted according to systems, not according to human. They could still have the gift of human, but according to the system, there's only 3. So everybody is a worker bee.
Yeah. I'd like you now to talk to the dyslexic children, those children who might be listening.
Okay. Look at me. Look at me. No education, sick child, and I didn't do anything other than create art. And through creating art, I found who I am. I got all my awareness. I got awareness about humanity and whatever. So one tool that I can recommend if you're dyslexic, create art. Not listening is fine too, but create art. It doesn't matter. You don't need to be an artist. You don't need to be deemed that you're going to be successful or anything. Just create, because in creating, what you do is you get self-esteem, you get self-confidence, because you started something from an idea and you made it physical. And because you did that, because you had that idea and you made it physical, that nobody can take away. Everybody can say, doing a podcast or doing whatever, it's a bad podcast, it's a good podcast, it's a successful podcast. It's all irrelevant. Nobody can take away that you did the podcast. Everybody, if you paint a painting, everybody can say it's horrible painting. That's not art. That's whatever. But you did it. And nobody can take that away. So I say, create a lot of art, create a lot of things, because nobody can take away that you did it. Make a birdhouse. You don't have to make an artwork. Make a birdhouse. Nobody. If everybody says this is not a birdhouse, this is the horror, but you did a birdhouse, and nobody can take that away from you.
No. Finally, talk to the adults, not the children now. Adults like you and I, right, who are living with dyslexia and frustrated in the workplace, in relationship. Talk to them.
Know that it's about humans. Know that it's about humanity. In nature, every living being has a purpose, and the purpose of being alive is your worth. You're worthy because you exist. We are still part of nature. We're just one species that is not the best seeing species. It's not the best hearing species. It's just one species. And we need to know we belong to nature, because nature is perfect. It doesn't make mistakes. It just adjusts and balances. And if you are in any way different, and by the way, this is for everybody. We are 8 billion people. Everybody is different. Everybody has different fingerprints and DNA. So the fact that we are that is, it's allowing you to find yourself, and you are a value. And it's in systems. Systems are so limited because we created them. They're human created, that we cannot figure out where your skill is. But if you got to look at where your skill is, not where to fit in the system. When you fill out what are you better than anybody else in your friendship or whatever, and it's saying jokes or whatever, you need to hold on to that, and you need to nurture that. That when you see you're better than, nurture the stuff where good, not where what you're not good and what you want to achieve as a goal. Nurture the things that you're good, and when you nurture that, you find out more and create art too.
Yeah, interesting, Michael. And it's interesting that we talk like this today on dyslexia, and the fact that you had experienced this,
Yeah.
and the audience learn a lot. Those who are living with dyslexia, those who are not living with dyslexia but have friends who are living with dyslexia, or those who just want to learn about dyslexia, would have garnered a lot of ideas from you, and understand the experience that you have gone through and still going through. Thanks for coming, Michael and Canute Exploration.
Yeah, thank you for allowing me to paint on your podcast. And I think I hope I showed that we need all humans. It doesn't matter. We need, every human is valuable, and we cannot submit to systems, and we cannot make systems stronger, because when people say no, system cannot take advantage of you. Okay. We need systems, we need them, but we can make them better.
Right. Yeah. So you hear that, audience, those listening on the podcast platform, those watching, you heard that. You heard the man, in terms of art and creativity. I know he has propelled through the challenges, the adversities inherent in dyslexia, and you're going to understand more. You're going to be sharing this, subscribing, and letting your friends know that, hey, if they are dyslexic, it's okay. You can paint. Children, you can do it. You will be okay. Thanks for listening. Canute Exploration, your topic.